Alhamdulillah, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful. Peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Have you ever wondered why Allah allows distance between two hearts that care for each other? Why, just when things feel right, everything suddenly slows down. What if that distance is not rejection, but preparation? What if the delay is not denial, but protection? Today, we will uncover a powerful truth. Sometimes Allah separates before He unites, tests before He blesses, and grows you before He gives you what is written. If your heart is waiting, this reminder is for you. Lesson 1. Allah tests what is precious to you. Allah says in the Quran, "Do people think they will be left to say, 'We believe,' and they will not be tested?" This verse is not only about general faith, it applies to every area of our lives, especially the things we love the most. The more precious something is to your heart, the more likely it is that Allah will test you through it. Not because He wants to hurt you, but because He wants to purify you, strengthen you, and raise your level in this dunya and the akhirah. When someone becomes important to you, when your heart feels attached, when you start imagining a future with them, that attachment becomes a part of your emotional world. It begins to matter deeply, and that is exactly where the test can come. Allah tests what is precious because that is where your sincerity is revealed. Anyone can claim love when everything is easy, when messages are constant, when meetings are frequent, and when emotions are high. But when distance enters the picture, when communication slows down, when uncertainty appears, that is when reality begins. Distance forces you to confront your true intentions. Are you loving this person for the sake of Allah? Or are you simply attached to how they make you feel? Are you willing to be patient in a halal way? Or are you ready to compromise your values just to stay connected? A test exposes the difference between genuine love and emotional dependency. Real love is not proven in closeness alone. Closeness is easy. When two people are constantly near each other, emotionally or physically, feelings grow naturally. But sabr, patience, is the real measure of depth. Sabr means you control your impulses. It means you trust Allah's timing even when your heart feels restless. And it means you choose obedience over desire. That kind of patience is not weakness. It is strength guided by faith. When Allah places distance between two hearts, He is observing what remains. Do you still make dua for them? Do you still guard your character? Do you still trust that if this person is written for you, no one can take them away? Or do you allow anxiety, jealousy, and fear to control you? The test is not only about whether the relationship survives, it is about whether your Iman survives the pressure. Sometimes the test is also about priorities. When someone becomes precious, there is a risk that they slowly take a place in your heart that belongs only to Allah. You begin to rely on them for emotional security instead of turning to your Creator. You begin to think about them more than you think about your salah. In such moments, distance can be a mercy. It reminds you that no human being is your ultimate source of peace. Only Allah is. Distance also reveals sincerity in a very practical way. If someone truly values you, they will be willing to wait respectfully. They will be willing to approach things correctly, to involve families, to make intentions clear. But if the connection was based only on convenience and emotions, distance will weaken it quickly. What is fragile will break. What is real will endure. It is important to understand that a test is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it is a sign that something is valuable. Allah does not test you with what does not matter. He tests you with what has the potential to elevate you. If you handle the test with sabr, dignity, and trust, you come out stronger, regardless of the outcome. In the end, this lesson teaches us that love itself is not the problem. Attachment without trust in Allah is the problem. When you love someone while keeping your heart anchored to Allah, distance will not destroy you. It may hurt, but it will not break your faith. And that is the true victory in any test. Lesson 2. Distance purifies. Intentions. Distance has a way of doing what constant closeness cannot. When two people are always in contact, always talking, always emotionally connected, it becomes easy to confuse feelings with sincerity. Emotions feel intense, attachment feels deep, and everything seems meaningful. But intensity is not always purity. Sometimes it is simply excitement. Sometimes it is dependency. And sometimes it is fear of being alone. When distance enters the picture, all of that begins to settle. What remains is the truth. Distance removes distraction. When you are no longer constantly hearing their voice or reading their messages, your heart is forced to slow down. In that silence, you begin to ask yourself difficult questions. Why do I want this person in my life? Is it because they bring me closer to Allah, or because they fill an emotional gap inside me? Am I willing to wait in a halal way, or do I only want immediate comfort? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are necessary, and distance creates the space for those questions to surface. Purification in Islam is about removing what is impure so that what is real can shine clearly. Just as gold is purified through fire, intentions are purified through hardship. When everything is easy, intentions can hide behind pleasure. When everything becomes difficult, intentions are exposed. If your intention is sincere, distance will not make you abandon your principles. It will make you stronger in them. You will choose patience over pressure. You will choose dua over desperation. You will choose dignity over impulsiveness. Distance also tests whether your love is rooted in obedience to Allah or rebellion against Him. If being apart pushes you towards secret conversations, emotional dependency, or actions that displease Allah, then the intention needs correction. But if distance makes you pray more, reflect more, and seek Allah's guidance more, then your intention is being refined. Sometimes Allah creates separation so that both hearts can realign themselves with Him before they align with each other. In another powerful way distance purifies intention is by removing illusion. When two people are constantly connected, they often idealize each other. They focus only on the good moments and ignore the reality of responsibility, compatibility, and long-term character. Distance creates clarity. Without daily emotional interaction, you begin to evaluate the relationship with your mind as well as your heart. You begin to notice whether the foundation was strong or simply emotional excitement. You begin to see whether this person truly fits into your life in a halal and stable way. Distance also reveals effort. When someone truly values you, distance does not make them careless. It makes them intentional. They will find respectful ways to maintain clarity. They will communicate with purpose, not just emotion. They will talk about real steps, not just empty promises. But when intentions are weak, distance becomes an excuse. Communication fades, effort decreases, and excuses increase. This is not cruelty, it is exposure. Distance exposes who was serious and who was simply comfortable. For your own heart, distance teaches self-control. It teaches you that you are capable of surviving without constant reassurance from another human being. It teaches you that your peace does not depend on a notification or a phone call. This realization is powerful because it restores balance. In Islam, reliance belongs to Allah alone. When distance helps you reduce emotional dependency and increase tawakkul, it is purification happening in real time. There is also a deeper spiritual dimension. Sometimes Allah removes someone temporarily so that your heart can detach from unhealthy attachment. Love in Islam is beautiful, but obsession is dangerous. If someone becomes the center of your thoughts, the reason for your happiness, and the source of your stability, Your heart may be leaning too heavily on creation instead of the Creator. Distance gently shifts that weight back where it belongs. It reminds you that while people can be blessings, they are not your ultimate security. Distance purifies intentions on both sides. It allows both individuals to grow independently. It allows both to mature emotionally and spiritually. If the relationship is meant to continue, it will return with clearer intentions, stronger boundaries, and greater respect. If it is not meant to continue, the purification will protect both hearts from a future built on weak foundations. In the end, distance is not always a punishment. Sometimes it is a filter. It filters out insincerity, impatience, ego, and illusion. What remains after the filtering process is either genuine commitment or peaceful acceptance. Both outcomes are forms of mercy, because when intentions are pure, the result will always bring you closer to Allah, whether that person stays in your life or not. This is the reality many people do not understand. Distance does not destroy real love, it refines it. And if it disappears after the test, it means what you lost was not destiny, but distraction. Lesson 3. What is meant for you cannot miss you. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Know that what has passed you by was never meant for you, and what has befallen you was never going to miss you." This statement is not just a comforting phrase. It is a foundation of faith. It teaches us how to breathe through heartbreak, how to remain steady during uncertainty, and how to release fear when distance makes everything feel fragile. When it comes to love, this lesson is one of the most powerful realities you can hold on to. Many people live in constant anxiety about losing someone. They overthink every delay in response, every change in tone, every shift in circumstance. They fear that one mistake, one misunderstanding, or one obstacle will permanently remove the person from their life. But if you truly understand Qadr, divine decree, you realize something liberating. What Allah has written for you cannot be erased by distance, by people, or by time. If a person is meant to be your spouse, no amount of temporary separation can cancel that destiny. Families may object, circumstances may complicate matters, and time may stretch longer than expected. But if Allah has written that union in your book, it will arrive at the exact moment it was meant to. You cannot rush it, and you cannot delay it. It will come with a precision that only Allah controls. This belief removes desperation. It removes the urge to chase, to beg, or to compromise your values out of fear. When you truly believe that what is yours cannot miss you, you stop trying to force what Allah has not opened. You stop humiliating yourself for attention. You stop fearing competition, because destiny does not compete. What is written for you was never written for someone else. Distance often creates panic because we assume physical separation equals emotional loss, but separation does not rewrite Qadr. If anything, it unfolds it. Sometimes Allah places distance between two people because the timing is not yet right. Perhaps one of you needs growth. Perhaps there are lessons that must be learned individually before a healthy union can exist. Perhaps Allah is building both of you in ways you cannot see. The distance is not denying destiny. It may be preparing it. There is also another side to this lesson that requires courage. If someone leaves your life despite your effort, despite your dua, despite your patience, then you must accept the possibility that they were not written for you. And that realization is not defeat. It is protection. It means Allah saved you from attaching your future to something that was never meant to carry it. Sometimes we confuse desire with destiny. We want something so badly that we assume it must be ours. But wanting is not proof of writing. You can deeply desire someone and still have them not be part of your Qadr. When that happens, it does not mean you were not good enough. It means Allah's knowledge is greater than your feelings. He sees the full story while you only see a single chapter. Trusting that what is meant for you cannot miss you also teaches emotional discipline. It allows you to respond to distance with calmness instead of chaos. Instead of reacting with fear, you respond with trust. Instead of pressuring the situation, you surrender it to Allah. This does not mean you become passive or careless. It means you act with dignity and leave the outcome to the one who controls hearts. Hearts are in the control of Allah. He turns them as He wills. If He wants two hearts to reunite, no barrier can stop it. Just if He wants them to separate, no effort can permanently force them together. Understanding this frees you from trying to control what was never yours to control. There is a deep peace that comes with surrendering to Qadr. It does not remove sadness, but it removes panic. You may still miss the person. You may still hope, but your hope becomes balanced. You make dua sincerely, asking Allah to reunite you if it is good for you, and to remove them completely if it is not. That kind of dua is powerful because it is rooted in trust, not desperation. When distance tests you, remember this: destiny does not require you to destroy yourself. It does not require you to compromise your Iman. It does not require you to chase endlessly. What is written for you will arrive in a way that preserves your dignity and strengthens your faith. And it will not demand that you lower your standards or abandon your principles. And if, after all the waiting and praying, that person does not return, understand that Allah's refusal is also protection. Sometimes what misses you is not a loss, but a shield. You may not understand it today. You may only see the wisdom years later. But one day when you look back, you will realize that what stayed away from you was never truly yours. This lesson transforms the way you experience love. It replaces fear with faith. It replaces obsession with surrender. It replaces anxiety with tawakkul. When you internalize that what is meant for you cannot miss you, distance loses its power to terrify you. It becomes simply a phase in the unfolding of Allah's perfect plan. And Allah's plan is always more precise, more protective, and more merciful than anything you could design for yourself. Lesson 4. Sometimes Allah separates to protect. One of the hardest realities to accept in love is that separation is not always a punishment. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes what feels like loss is actually mercy in disguise. When someone leaves your life, or when distance suddenly grows between you and a person you deeply care about, your first instinct is pain. You question yourself. You question them. You question the future. But rarely do you immediately question whether Allah may be protecting you from something you cannot see. Allah's knowledge is not limited to the present moment. He sees the unseen. He sees the future consequences of decisions you are emotionally blinded by. He sees the hidden traits in people that are not yet visible to you. He sees how certain paths would unfold years from now. What you experience as heartbreak today may be prevention of a far greater heartbreak tomorrow. Sometimes we fall in love with potential, not reality. We imagine who someone could become, how things might improve, how circumstances might change. But Allah sees the full reality of their character, their future choices, and their long-term impact on your life. If that path contains harm for your deen, your peace, or your future family, Allah may remove them before the damage is permanent. And removal often feels cruel before it feels merciful. Protection does not always feel gentle. Sometimes it feels like silence. Sometimes it feels like unanswered messages. Sometimes it feels like doors closing without explanation. But just because something hurts does not mean it is harmful. Surgery hurts, but it heals. A shield may block what you want, but it stops what would destroy you. There are times when you pray for someone, and you are sincere in your prayer. You ask Allah to make them yours, to bless the relationship, to unite you in halal. Yet despite your dua, circumstances move in the opposite direction. Delays increase. Misunderstandings grow, opportunities fade. In those moments, it is easy to feel abandoned. But unanswered dua is not always rejection. Sometimes it is redirection. Allah may know that if that relationship continued, it would distract you from your purpose. It might weaken your faith. It might introduce emotional instability that would consume your focus. Or perhaps the person is not ready for the responsibility you are prepared for. Protection can work in both directions. Allah may be protecting you from them, or protecting them from entering something they cannot handle. Another powerful aspect of protection is unseen harm. Not every danger announces itself clearly. Some harm is subtle. It appears later in patterns of disrespect, emotional manipulation, jealousy, or incompatibility that slowly erodes your confidence and peace. When you are emotionally invested, you may ignore early warning signs. You may excuse behavior that you should not tolerate. But Allah sees what you excuse. He sees what you justify. And sometimes He removes the person before those small cracks become irreversible damage. It is also possible that Allah separates you because your heart was becoming too dependent on creation instead of the Creator. Love is beautiful in Islam, but it must remain balanced. If someone becomes your source of stability, your primary comfort, and the center of your thoughts, your heart may begin to lean too heavily on them. Distance can be a correction. It reminds you that your ultimate protection, provision, and peace come from Allah alone. Protection also includes spiritual protection. Not every connection is spiritually healthy. Some relationships pull you slowly away from prayer, from modesty, from focus, from remembrance of Allah. It may start subtly. Conversations become less guarded. Boundaries begin to blur. Intentions remain unclear. Over time, your heart becomes attached in a way that clouds judgment. In such cases, separation is not cruelty, it is rescue. There are people who only understand Allah's protection years later. At the time of separation, they felt broken, and they believed they lost their future. But later, when they encountered greater stability, healthier love, and stronger faith, they realized that what they once cried over would have limited them. The pain was temporary, but the protection was permanent. It is important to understand that protection does not mean the person was evil. It simply means the path was not right for you. Two good people can still be wrong for each other. Compatibility is not only about feelings, it is about values, goals, emotional maturity, and timing. Allah may protect you from a union that would constantly test your patience in unhealthy ways. When Allah separates to protect, He also builds. He builds your resilience. He strengthens your independence. He deepens your reliance on Him. He teaches you that your worth does not decrease because someone walked away. He teaches you that your future is not destroyed because one door closed. The most difficult part of protection is trust. You must trust that Allah's wisdom is greater than your understanding. You must trust that even if you do not see the danger, it existed. You must trust that what is removed was not meant to complete you. Trust does not erase sadness, but it transforms it into something bearable. If someone left your life despite your effort and sincerity, consider the possibility that Allah intervened on your behalf. If distance keeps increasing, no matter how much you try to close it, consider the possibility that Allah is guiding you elsewhere. Not every separation is meant to be fought. Some are meant to be accepted. And sometimes, protection through separation leads you to something better than you imagined, a relationship that is healthier, a partner who respects you more deeply, a love that strengthens your faith instead of testing it constantly. But even if something better does not appear immediately, the protection itself is a gift. In the end, sometimes Allah separates not to punish you, not to deny you happiness, but to shield you from unseen harm and to guide you toward a future that aligns with your faith and your growth. What feels like loss may be divine care. What feels like heartbreak may be hidden mercy. And one day, when clarity replaces confusion, you may look back and say that the separation you once resented was actually the protection you desperately needed. Lesson 5. Love should bring you closer to Allah. Love is one of the most powerful emotions Allah placed inside the human heart. It can motivate sacrifice, patience, loyalty, and growth. It can inspire a person to become better, kinder, and more responsible. But love, like every other blessing, must be guided correctly. If it is not anchored to faith, it can slowly drift into something that weakens the very heart it once strengthened. In Islam, love is not just about emotion, it is about direction. The real question is not how deeply you feel, but where those feelings are leading you. If a relationship is truly good for you, it should pull you closer to Allah, not further away. It should increase your awareness of Him, not distract you from Him. When you care about someone in a healthy way, you begin to think about your responsibilities more seriously. You think about halal commitment. You think about becoming financially, emotionally, and spiritually stable. You reflect on your character because you want to be worthy of a righteous spouse. This kind of love refines you. It encourages discipline. It strengthens your prayer because you are asking Allah to bless what you feel. But there is another type of attachment that looks like love on the surface, but slowly erodes your faith. It consumes your thoughts until your salah becomes rushed. It makes you prioritize late-night conversations over tahajjud. It pushes you towards secrecy, compromise, and justifications. You begin to say things like, Allah understands, while knowingly stepping outside His boundaries. That is not love elevating you. That is love overpowering your discipline. A love that brings you closer to Allah makes you more conscious of your behavior. You lower your gaze more carefully. You guard your words more thoughtfully. You seek halal solutions instead of secret arrangements. You encourage each other to pray. You remind each other of patience. You talk about building a future based on faith, not just emotion. Even during distance, you make dua for each other's guidance and growth, not just reunion. Distance itself can be a powerful indicator. When you are separated from someone and that separation leads you to cry in dua, to seek comfort in the Quran, to turn to Allah for clarity, then something beneficial is happening. Pain is being redirected into worship. Your heartbreak becomes a doorway to deeper reliance on Allah. That is transformation. That is growth. Sometimes Allah allows love to hurt because the pain softens your heart. A softened heart remembers Him more sincerely. It understands its need for Him more clearly. When you are emotionally shaken, you realize how fragile human connection can be. And in that fragility, you rediscover the stability of your relationship with Allah. Human love fluctuates. Divine love remains constant. True love in Islam is not meant to compete with your love for Allah. It is meant to exist under it. Your love for Allah should be the foundation. Every other love rests upon it. When that order is correct, relationships become balanced. You do not worship the person. You do not lose yourself in them. You appreciate them as a blessing, not as your source of existence. If someone truly loves you in a healthy way, they will not encourage you to disobey Allah for their comfort. They will not pressure you into emotional or physical boundaries that compromise your values. They will respect the pace of halal progression. They will value your modesty, your dignity, and your faith. If they do not, then the connection may be driven more by desire than sincerity. Love should also inspire personal growth. It should motivate you to improve your character, to manage anger better, to communicate respectfully, and to develop patience. It should make you reflect on the type of spouse you want to be, not just the type of spouse you want to have. If a relationship only feeds your emotions but does not challenge you to grow, it is incomplete. Another sign that love is bringing you closer to Allah is peace. Even in difficulty, there is a certain calmness. Yet you may feel sadness during distance, But you do not feel spiritual chaos. You do not feel dragged away from your obligations. You continue to pray consistently. You continue to maintain your boundaries. That stability indicates that the love is not overpowering your faith. Sometimes Allah places distance between two people specifically to test whether their connection will remain within halal limits. If, during separation, you both choose patience instead of secret disobedience, that choice itself becomes a source of barakah. It shows that your love respects Allah's commands, and any relationship built upon obedience has the potential to carry long-term blessing. It is also important to remember that marriage in Islam is an act of worship. It is not merely a romantic arrangement, and it is a partnership designed to help both individuals reach Jannah. A spouse should remind you of Allah, not replace your remembrance of Him. They should help you wake up for prayer, not keep you distracted from it. They should encourage modesty, honesty, and responsibility. If a relationship consistently weakens your iman, causes guilt without repentance, or normalizes compromise, then distance may be a mercy. Allah may be separating you so that your heart can recalibrate. He may be protecting your faith, which is more valuable than any human connection. Faith is eternal. Relationships in this world are temporary. There is a profound difference between loving someone for Allah and loving someone instead of Allah. Loving for Allah means you want what is best for their deen. You want to see them guided, disciplined, and spiritually strong. You pray for their success in this life and the next. Loving instead of Allah means you prioritize their approval over divine approval. You fear losing them more than you fear displeasing your Creator. That imbalance leads to inner turmoil. The strongest relationships are those where both individuals understand that Allah comes first. When disagreements occur, they resolve them with justice and humility because they know Allah is watching. When temptations arise, they restrain themselves because they fear accountability. When distance appears, they handle it with sabr because they trust divine timing. Love that brings you closer to Allah does not guarantee a painless journey. There may still be tests, delays, and uncertainty. But even within those trials, your faith grows. You become more conscious, more patient, more reliant on dua. You begin to measure success not only by reunion, but by spiritual elevation. In the end, the ultimate purpose of every blessing in this world is to guide you toward Allah. Love is no exception. If it strengthens your connection with Him, it is a gift worth nurturing. If it weakens that connection, it may be a test you must navigate carefully. When you evaluate your own situation, ask yourself honestly, has this love increased my remembrance of Allah? Has it improved my character? Has it encouraged halal intentions? Or has it distracted me, consumed me, and pulled me away from spiritual discipline? Your answers will reveal whether the love is elevating you or testing you. True success is not simply being united with someone you desire. True success is reaching Allah with a heart that remained faithful through love, through distance, and through uncertainty. If love becomes a path that leads you closer to Him, then even its difficulties carry reward, and that is the kind of love that is truly blessed. Lesson 6. Patience builds strong foundations. Patience is one of the most repeated virtues in the Quran, and it is not without reason. Sabr is not passive waiting, it is controlled strength. It is the ability to remain firm in obedience while your emotions are unsettled. When it comes to love, especially love tested by distance, patience is not optional. It is the foundation upon which anything lasting must be built. Many people believe love is proven by intensity. They think the stronger the emotion, the more real the connection. But intensity fades. Excitement cools. What remains after emotion settles is character. And character is built through patience. When Allah places distance between two hearts, He is not only testing their feelings, He is strengthening their foundations. A relationship that survives impatience may feel passionate, but a relationship that survives patience becomes stable. Stability is what sustains marriage, not excitement. Patience teaches emotional discipline. When you miss someone, your heart wants immediate reassurance. You want constant communication. You want certainty about the future. But life does not always provide instant clarity. Patience trains you to manage longing without losing balance. It teaches you that you can feel deeply without acting recklessly. In relationships, impulsiveness often causes more harm than distance itself. Words spoken out of frustration, accusations born from insecurity, and decisions made in panic can damage what time alone would have healed. Patience protects you from self-sabotage. It gives you space to think, to reflect, and to respond with wisdom instead of reacting with fear. Strong foundations are not built in comfort. They are built in testing. Think of a building designed to stand for decades. Its foundation must endure pressure, storms, and shifting ground. Similarly, a relationship meant to last must survive uncertainty, distance, and delay. If two people cannot remain respectful and composed during separation, how will they navigate the inevitable challenges of marriage? Marriage is not only about romance. It involves financial stress, family responsibilities, emotional disagreements, health issues, and unexpected trials. If distance causes complete instability, that signals emotional fragility that needs growth. Patience during separation becomes training for patience during real-life challenges. Another aspect of patience is trust in timing. Allah's timing rarely matches our desires. You may feel ready now. You may believe everything aligns perfectly. Yet circumstances remain delayed. That delay is not meaningless. Sometimes Allah is preparing external factors you cannot see. Sometimes He is preparing you internally. Growth often happens quietly during waiting. You develop maturity. You strengthen your self-control. You deepen your reliance on Allah. You refine your expectations. You become more realistic about partnership. By the time reunion becomes possible, you are not the same person you were before distance. You are more grounded. Patience also builds respect. When two people choose to wait in a halal way, they show each other that their connection is not driven purely by desire. They demonstrate seriousness. They show that they value barakah over immediacy. That kind of restraint increases appreciation. What is waited for with dignity is valued more deeply than what is obtained easily. There is also personal empowerment in patience. When you endure distance without collapsing emotionally, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought. You realize that your peace is not entirely dependent on another person's presence. That realization builds confidence. You stop fearing loss in the same way because you know you can survive it. Impatience often leads to forcing outcomes. You pressure for commitments that are not ready. You push conversations that require time. You create ultimatums out of anxiety. But forced foundations crack easily. Patience allows matters to unfold naturally. It allows sincerity to reveal itself without coercion. Patience does not mean silence in the face of confusion. It does not mean tolerating disrespect. It means handling matters with calm clarity instead of emotional chaos. It means communicating respectfully. It means setting boundaries without anger. It means trusting Allah while taking reasonable steps. One of the greatest strengths patience builds is resilience. When you wait and endure uncertainty, your emotional tolerance increases. You become less reactive. You become more thoughtful. That resilience becomes invaluable in long-term commitment. A resilient spouse is steady, not volatile. Distance often exposes insecurity. You may fear being forgotten. You may worry about being replaced. Patience teaches you to confront those fears without letting them control you. It forces you to place your trust in Allah rather than in constant reassurance. That shift in reliance transforms your inner stability. It is also important to understand that patience does not guarantee reunion. Sometimes patience leads to clarity that separation is permanent. But even in that outcome, patience protects your dignity. You walk away, knowing you handled the situation with faith and self-respect. You do not carry regret of having compromised your principles. When two people are patient for the sake of Allah, their foundation is layered with intention, discipline, and sincerity. They have proven that their connection can survive hardship without collapsing into desperation. That proof creates emotional safety. Safety is more valuable than passion. Strong foundations require time. Just as cement must settle before bearing weight, relationships must mature before carrying lifelong responsibility. Patience allows that settling. It prevents premature commitments built on unstable ground. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, patience has become rare. But what is rare is valuable. A patient heart stands out. It reflects depth, maturity, and faith. When you choose patience during distance, you align yourself with a prophetic quality. The Prophet ﷺ exemplified sabr in every hardship. His patience was not weakness. It was controlled strength, guided by certainty in Allah. If this relationship is written for you, patience will not harm it. It will strengthen it. And if it is not written for you, patience will protect you from unnecessary damage. Either way, you win by remaining steady. Strong love is not rushed. It is refined, it is tested, it is built layer by layer through trust, discipline, and reliance on Allah. Patience is the unseen architecture beneath lasting unions. Without it, the structure may look beautiful from the outside, but collapse under pressure. When you embrace patience, you shift your focus from immediate relief to long-term reward. You begin to value barakah over speed. You begin to understand that foundations built slowly often last longer. In the end, patience is not about waiting for someone. It is about strengthening yourself. It is about becoming emotionally prepared for whatever Allah decrees, whether reunion or redirection. Impatience ensures that your heart remains intact and your faith remains firm, and that is the strongest foundation any relationship can ever have. Lesson 7. Destiny comes after growth. Many people believe destiny is simply about meeting the right person. They imagine that once two hearts find each other, everything will naturally fall into place. But in reality, destiny is not just about meeting, it is about being ready, and readiness requires growth. Allah does not unite two souls simply because they feel strongly about each other. He unites them when the timing, maturity, character, and circumstances align according to His wisdom. Sometimes distance is not denying destiny. It is delaying it until growth has taken place. Growth is uncomfortable. It often happens during separation, not closeness. When you are constantly connected to someone, you may not notice your weaknesses. You may not feel the urgency to improve. But when distance creates silence, you are left alone with yourself. You confront your insecurities. You confront your impatience. You confront your fears. That confrontation is the beginning of transformation. Before Allah grants you something significant, He often prepares you for it. Marriage is not a small responsibility. It is a lifelong commitment that requires emotional stability, financial awareness, communication skills, and spiritual discipline. If two people are united before they develop these qualities, the relationship may struggle under pressure. Distance can become a classroom. It teaches you self-control. It teaches you independence. And it teaches you to regulate your emotions without constant reassurance. These lessons are essential for healthy partnership. If you cannot manage yourself alone, you may not be able to manage shared responsibility with someone else. Sometimes growth means correcting your intentions. Early feelings may be driven by attraction or excitement. Over time, you begin to think more seriously. You reflect on compatibility, values, long-term goals, and faith. You ask deeper questions. You become less focused on how they make you feel and more focused on whether you can build a stable life together. That shift is maturity. Growth also involves healing. Many people enter relationships carrying wounds from their past, insecurity, fear of abandonment, jealousy, or emotional trauma can quietly influence behavior. If these wounds are not addressed, say they can damage even a good relationship. Distance provides space for healing. It gives you time to work on your emotional patterns, to seek knowledge, to strengthen your identity beyond the relationship. Allah may separate two people temporarily because both need individual refinement. Perhaps one needs to develop patience. Perhaps the other needs to strengthen discipline. Perhaps both need to deepen their relationship with Allah before building a household together. Growth ensures that when reunion happens, it is not based on dependency, but on stability. There is also spiritual growth. During distance, you may find yourself making more dua than ever before. You may cry in sujood asking Allah for clarity. You may read Quran seeking comfort. These moments elevate you. They soften your heart. They increase your awareness of Allah's control over your life. By the time destiny unfolds, your relationship with Allah is stronger than before. Destiny that comes after growth feels different. It is calmer. It is less dramatic. It is not fueled by desperation. It is grounded in understanding. You no longer fear losing the person in the same way because you have already learned how to stand on your own. You appreciate them as a partner, not as your emotional survival. Another aspect of growth is learning to release control. During distance, you realize how little power you truly have over outcomes. You cannot force someone to stay. You cannot force timing. You cannot force circumstances. This realization can feel unsettling at first, but it ultimately builds humility. You begin to surrender more sincerely to Allah's decree. That surrender prepares your heart for whatever destiny holds. Sometimes destiny after growth means reunion. Two people separate, mature, heal, and return to each other with greater clarity. Their second meeting is different from the first. It carries intention, seriousness, and respect. They no longer chase emotion. They pursue stability. That union is often stronger because it was tested and refined. Other times, destiny after growth means redirection. You grow, you mature, and you realize that what you once desired is no longer aligned with who you have become. The person may not return, but you are no longer broken by their absence. You are stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what Allah has written next. That too is destiny. Growth shifts your perspective on love. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is Allah teaching me?" You stop measuring success only by reunion and start measuring it by personal development. You understand that becoming the right person is just as important as finding the right person. Destiny is not random. It unfolds through stages. Each stage carries lessons. Distance may be one stage, reflection may be another, healing may be another. When all necessary growth has occurred, what is written will arrive with clarity. There is wisdom in delay. If Allah granted every desire immediately, we would miss the transformation that happens in waiting. Waiting refines character. It removes arrogance. It strengthens reliance. It teaches gratitude. By the time destiny arrives, you value it more because you understand what it took to reach that point. It is important to trust that Allah's plan accounts for your growth. He does not test you beyond your capacity. If He allows distance, it is because there is something within you that can be strengthened through it. You may not see the improvement day by day, but over time you will notice change. You react differently. You think differently. You pray differently. Destiny after growth also protects future stability. Two individuals who have matured separately bring more balance into a union. They are less reactive, less insecure, less impulsive. They communicate with greater wisdom. They approach conflict with patience. Their foundation is not based on fantasy, but on reality. Growth teaches you that love alone is not enough. Compatibility, faith, maturity, and shared goals matter. During separation, you have time to evaluate these factors without emotional pressure. That clarity ensures that when destiny unfolds, it is not blind, but informed. If you are currently experiencing distance, consider the possibility that you are in a season of preparation. You may not be ready yet for what you are asking for, or the other person may not be ready. Allah prepares both sides according to His knowledge. When readiness meets timing, destiny feels natural rather than forced. In the end, destiny is not just about being united with someone you love. It is about becoming someone capable of sustaining that love in a healthy, faith-centered way. Growth ensures that when Allah writes something beautiful for you, you have the strength to preserve it. Whether destiny brings reunion or replacement, growth guarantees that you emerge stronger. And that strength is never wasted. It shapes your future, your character, and your relationship with Allah. Sometimes the greatest sign that destiny is near is not their return. It is your transformation. When you are no longer desperate, no longer unstable, no longer fearful, but calm and trusting, you are closer to readiness. And readiness is what invites destiny to unfold in its most blessed form. Before we end, remember this deeply. If Allah removed someone from your life, it was never random. If He delayed something you wanted, it was never careless. And if He tested your heart with distance, it was never without wisdom. You are not waiting in vain. You are not hurting without purpose. You are not being denied without reason. Sometimes Allah withholds because He is protecting. Sometimes He separates because He is preparing. And sometimes He delays because the version of you receiving that blessing must be stronger than the version asking for it. If that person is written for you, no distance can erase it. And if they are not, no attachment can force it. So trust Him. Trust the one who controls hearts. Trust the one who writes destinies. Trust the one who sees what you cannot see. May Allah grant you a love that brings you closer to Him, a marriage filled with barakah, and a heart that finds peace in His decree. And remember, what is meant for you will never miss you.